Welcome back, fellow travelers. This is Make It Destination. My name's Amanda, and this is where I help you make it to your destination. Now, this video idea came up spontaneously, to be honest. I just always have a lot of thoughts in my head, and I went away for a few days. It was a very low-key, relaxing family vacation, and I started to think, how many people actually go on vacation? People always ask, how are you traveling so often? How do you even travel in the first place? You're so young. How do you make travel a priority? So I started to think and do some digging, and it seems like the system in America is not built for you to take vacation time. And this needs to stop. As a young adult who's in her last year of graduate school, I want to make sure that I have adequate paid vacation time. Right now, working in a restaurant, I don't receive paid time off. And this could be seen as a blessing and a curse, right? I don't get paid vacation time, but as long as I put my time off request in, I honestly most likely could take as many trips as I want, so long as my bills get paid. But Americans need to take more of their vacation time, and I think the pandemic and the shutdown really made people realize that they need a better work-life balance. In America, we tend to center ourselves around work, and that's about it. So I want to make sure that travel is a priority in your life, and these are steps that you could take in order for you to do that. So make sure you watch until the end. I added a sixth little piece of advice so that I could help you incorporate travel more into your life, but I'm going to make sure that I tell you the 5. And let's get into how you can make travel a priority and how to travel and get out there more. You know you want to like this video, give this video a big thumbs up, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell because I know you never want to miss any of my content, and comment down below on how you incorporate travel into your life and how after the pandemic or even before the pandemic, you have made sure that travel is a priority and that you've pushed yourself to travel more. So I've been looking at blogs, news articles, so on and so forth. I'll put them all in the description. But I found this one statistic out of this blog, and it said 40% of Americans, which is almost 100 million people, will take at least one vacation each year. Of those 100 million people, 28% will take 3 or more vacations per year. But Americans in the southern states are twice as likely to vacation as people in the northern states. I personally think 40% is low. Some people might be like, oh, that's actually pretty high. I don't. I think high would be 60 and above. You have to think that's only one vacation per year. And I started to think, why is it only one vacation per year? Is it income inequality? Is it just that people don't like to travel? Is it affordability? But when I looked into it, watched some YouTube videos, saw some news articles, the time off that Americans receive compared to other wealthy nations, which you probably know this, but if you don't, I just want to give you a little overview. The time off that Americans get compared to other wealthy nations, Finland, Sweden, Germany, Italy, so on and so forth, is low. So according to a study from the U.S. Travel Association's Project Time Off, 52% of Americans didn't even use all of their vacation days in 2017. So we not only don't receive a lot of time off, or time off that's kind of comparable to other wealthy nations, but over half of Americans didn't even use all of it. That's alarming, right? There's kind of this energy in a lot of workplaces, and as I've interned and worked at different jobs and occupations, I realized that usually I'm the only one who takes multiple trips per year. This is sort of alarming to me because as a society, we tend to favor people who just work and work and work and work. Oh, you're hustling, you're making money. And yes, it does seem like you are a hard worker, but you're gonna burn out at some point. All of that work, you know, whether it's in your 40s, whether it's in your 60s, I've even seen people in their 20s burn out. Right? Because in your 20s, you're supposed to be working, 60, 70, 80 hours. You're supposed to work, make sure you're building your career. But I think this is starting to change with the millennial generation, and this might be a video that I do in the future, which is how travel has changed generation to generation. So it says here, in countries like Austria and France, governments require that workers are given paid time off. Austrians enjoy 13 paid public holidays and 25 days of paid annual leave. That's almost a whole month and a half that you're getting, which is amazing. I think in the United States, which I have to find it, your employer in America doesn't have to require vacation days. That's red flag number 1. And red flag number 2, I'm going to put a little graphic up for you guys. It says required yearly time off by country. And this is a requirement. France, 30 days. Austria, 25. Spain, 25. Germany, 20. Canada, 10. Japan, 10. But then they have paid holiday days. For Austria, it's 13. Spain, it's 14. Germany, it's 13. Canada, it's 9. Japan is 15. And the United States is 0. I mean, for required, whether it's public or private, right? At least I think. So that's a little worrisome when it comes to bringing travel as a priority into your life when you live in a country that values work over you becoming restored, spending time with friends and family, understanding who you are. Because I believe if you go on, let's just say 2 to 3 vacations per year, you could be more of an asset to a company than not, because you're feeling more refreshed. You've seen something different. Maybe you've understood how another country's business model works while you're there. I don't know. That could help you become more productive within your days, having a better work-life balance instead of work, and then you burn out. So now I'm going to get into my 5 ways of how you could travel more. And remember, like I said before, watch until the end because I added a secret 6th in there, but the top 5 should cut it if you don't have time to watch the whole thing. So let's get into my ways to travel. Okay, so now we're gonna get into my 5 ways of how you could travel more and make travel a priority in your life. So number 1 might be obvious, but due to all these statistics, I think it needs to be said. And my first tip is to use all of your vacation time. If you do not have paid time off, like me, I work in the restaurant industry and I have an internship, so at both jobs I do not receive paid time off. Save a little bit per paycheck so that you could accommodate your travel needs or wants, right? Because for those of us who don't receive paid time off, it's almost a double whammy for us when we take time off because we're not making money and we're not getting paid to take the time off, right? So if you save a little bit of your check and make sure you kind of balance it out, or pick up a few extra shifts, that could help you with your travel needs and wants. But getting back to using all your vacation time, many people say they're going to, but unfortunately a lot of companies, and there's kind of this vacation shaming energy that's really prevalent in older generations, I notice. And when I tell people that I'm going to travel and I want to do this, they kind of look at you a little weird because at this age, for them, they weren't thinking about traveling. They were thinking about creating a career, getting the house, the white picket fence, having, a wife or husband. They weren't thinking about traveling. There's kind of an energy when you're excited about a trip or you want to go somewhere you can kind of feel that they're shaming you for that, unfortunately. I think it has gotten better within the last, I would say, year or so because of the pandemic, and there is a shift in thinking about a better work-life balance. But I have received some, kind of faces of confusion, some people kind of asking if I should be working on my career more, especially being a young adult, being 22, working all of these hours. If you receive vacation time, you should use all of it, and you shouldn't feel guilty about it. And the idea behind this is that you're receiving paid time off for a reason. You don't want to burn yourself out at 24, 25, and then health problems kind of ensue years later. You also want to make sure you make the most of your time here on Earth, right? I know that's kind of more philosophical, but I'm never going to be 22 again. This is the only time I'm going to be 22, and I don't want to look back at 32 or 42 or 52 and say, oh, I wish I did that. I could have done this. I wish I made time for that. You could travel at any age, but I think there are certain destinations that are better when you're younger and better when you're older. And so if there are places that you want to go now, make sure that you stand strong in using your vacation time. Another thing that could be incorporated in this is negotiating vacation time. So this is for all my young adults out there, or even people who are starting a new job after the pandemic, is that you can negotiate vacation time. Now, I've talked to my cohorts at my internship and other places that I've worked, and you could say, hey, Instead of paying me $45,000, can you pay me 40 and I want an extra week? Or maybe don't even negotiate on the time off. Right now, employers are looking for a lot of people. You could work remotely and you could be like, hey, in order for me to work for you for 45, 50, however much you're getting paid, I need an extra week, I need an extra few days, and this will help me be more productive for your company. And don't feel bad for asking for that, because honestly, you're giving your life to this company, you're giving your time, effort, your thoughts, ideas, and so they should respect your boundaries. So set that up in the beginning so that they know, hey, yeah, Amanda will work hard for us, but she needs her time to get away and have ideas flow and be refreshed. So make sure you set your boundaries for yourself. So that was number one, and let's get into number two. My second way of how to travel more and incorporate travel into your life is based on one of my videos that I've done in the past. And I'm going to link all my videos that I think are relevant to this down in the description so that you can watch them. But my second one is to incorporate travel inspiration in your life. And there are multiple ways you could do this. The first one that came to mind for me was watching travel YouTube videos, like watching my channel, or watching travel shows. I have a video on the best travel shows in my opinion, and Netflix just came out with a few more. And I think this could help you understand how to plan trips and choose a destination maybe you've never thought of before, right? I think I told you guys in my travel TV show video, I never heard of the island of Malta in the Mediterranean until I watched Restaurants on the Edge. So that's a great way to do that. Also, this is like old school, but subscribing to a travel magazine. Sometimes physically looking through something can be really helpful in seeing what hotels are out there, what foodie experiences are out there, what adventures are, out there without having to leave your room. And I think that really can be inspirational, and you could feel like, oh, I could do that. Right? My top two are Travel and Leisure and Condé Nast Traveler. Those are the two that I love. And even though sometimes I'm like, oh, why did I subscribe sometimes? And the fact that, they come pretty often. When I open that magazine, I'm transported somewhere else. I really feel like having those travel inspiration moments really does help. And I know that was short, but we're going to get into the third tip right now. So my third tip kind of intertwines with tip number two, and that's making travel a priority in your life. This might seem a little superficial, but I'm going to tell you some ways that you could do this. The first one is creating a vision board. So you could take those magazines that I told you about, or pictures of those travel shows, and you could put it up on a poster. And every morning that you wake up, you could see those destinations that you either love and been to and want to go again, or destinations that you've never been to that you want to explore. For example, I made a travel board, I would say 3-4 years ago, and it was a picture of Las Vegas. It was Aria, the resort and casino. It took me a few years. I didn't stay at Aria, but I went to Las Vegas in March. Now, I don't know if you believe in the law of attraction, but I'm a huge believer in that, and I think waking up and seeing that, seeing the luxury of Las Vegas, seeing the Strip, seeing a hotel, really did bring me there one day. It might take a few years, but I definitely think that it works thinking about it every day, manifesting it, and saying, I will go to Las Vegas. I see myself in Las Vegas, or I see myself in Barbados, or in Seoul, or wherever you want to go. Another thing is creating a travel bucket list. And sometimes this can be overwhelming because you're like, oh my gosh, like, what are all the places I want to see before I die? So my recommendation is actually to break it up by age group. So I told Sam that we should create a bucket list for places we want to go before we turn 30. We're both 22 right now. That gives us about 8 years of travel. It's something that I want to do before we have children, right? It's, a couple right now, there are places that you want to go before you have a family. And I think that really does help you break it down easier rather than being like, what do I want to do before I die? And writing this list is a nice visual for you to see, okay, I want to go to some places in Asia or some places in Africa or South America or Europe. And you could kind of break it down and focus on it year by year and check it off like I said, a bucket list or a to-do list or a goal list. So this really helps you make travel a priority. Another thing that I thought of was to have a map in your room showing where you have been and where you want to go. And this, again, is relates to the vision board visual and the fact that it gives you a world map of, okay, I've been to Las Vegas, I've been to Los Angeles, I've been to Miami, but I want to go to Boise, Idaho. I want to go to Austin, Texas. And every day you could say, I'm going to Austin, Texas. I'm going to Turks and Caicos. I'm going to Puerto Rico. And this really will make it a reality for you. And this makes travel a priority in your life without being too tiring, right? It's not like you're going on the internet and looking up places every single day. It's not like you're on your phone, like checking Instagram or Facebook to see new destinations. It's something that could come naturally, right? You could be looking at your vision board and be like, Turks and Caicos looks nice, but I just watched a travel show about the Philippines. I kind of want to go there. Add it on there. Same with your map. You could be like, oh, I just went to Miami and I actually want to see what Clearwater's like. Boom, put a pin in it. So this will help you make travel a priority in your life without making it too stressful or tiring. Now we're going to get into travel tip number 4. Travel tip number 4 is going to be short and sweet, but I'm going to link this video in the description, and it was actually my most recent video, and this is to get a travel rewards card. Now you can put everyday purchases on your travel rewards card, whether that's the American Express Gold card, the Chase Sapphire Reserve, or whatever you choose. But this could help you cut the cost of your travel in half or even 100%. Like I told you, I got 2 free round trip flights using my American Express Gold card. And these points could go toward flights, hotels, rental cars, and that can make travel more affordable for you. And then when you go there, you use the card, and it's kind of a vicious cycle of you gain points on your trip, you use the points to take another trip, and it keeps on going and going. And again, make sure you use the credit card, whichever one that you open, responsibly, because with a lot of power, comes a lot of responsibility, so just make sure that you don't get into too much debt with that. Again, I'm not a financial channel, but I feel as though now that I've done some credit card hacking, it definitely is worth it when it comes to travel costs. So that was a little short and sweet, but now we're going to get into travel tip number 5. For travel tip number 5, this is something that kind of took me a little bit to think about, but I think it's extremely important at the end of the day. And this is to take different kinds of trips in order to switch it up. So if you watch my What Type of Traveler Are You? Maybe you do one relaxing vacation. The next one could be an adventure vacation, a shopping vacation. Also, switch up who you go with, because depending on who you go with, it really does change the energy of the vacation. A couple's trip is totally different than a girl's trip, and a girl's trip is completely different than a family trip. So if you switch up who you travel with and what destinations you go to, I feel like it's never boring, right? I feel like the first time you go to a destination, it's always a learning curve, right? How is the city or the island set up? What are we going to do? Where are we going to go? How long is it going to take us? Are there lines for restaurants? Are there not lines? I feel like it definitely is a learning curve. So every new place that you go to, it's going to jolt your brain in a different way than, say, going up to the same vacation 10 to 15 years in a row. Some people really like to go to the same place because they have a vacation home or they just know it from childhood. Personally, to be honest with you, I am not that type of person to go to the same place over and over and over again. Obviously, I'm going back to Las Vegas, but this would only be my second time going. I just think it's good to switch it up in order to keep that exploration side alive and to see new things, but everybody has their thing. Also, this could mean just adding more day trips into your year, right? This doesn't have to mean you take 4 or 5 international trips a year. That is very expensive, and for people in the middle class, that's unattainable. But this could be going on a hike you've never thought of going to before, trying a new restaurant that you've never tried that's only an hour away, or trying a spa for the first time. So I think, honestly, there are things in your backyard that you could explore that you've never done before, or even international trips that you haven't explored. So I think switching up who you go with and where you go, keep that travel spark alive. Sometimes when you do the same thing over and over with the same people, it gets a little mundane, and then you're like, do I really want to pay all this money to do the same thing again? At least that's my point of view. Some people might love doing the same thing over and over, and kudos to you. But I think if you switch it up, it will keep that travel adventurer alive. And so those are my tips. But if you've watched until this point, thank you so much for your support. And here's a little extra tip for you in order to make travel a priority in your life. Number 6, thank you so much for watching till the end. So I've saved the best for last for you. And this is, make sure you surround yourself with people who have the same travel goals, priority, vibes as you. This is extremely important because if you're somebody who wants to travel, but your significant other doesn't want to get outside their comfort zone, doesn't have a passion for travel, or they don't follow through on what they say, there are people who are like, yes, I want to go here, and then you'll never hear about it again. You will not be able to prosper in your travel dreams. Now, you can go travel solo. I know couples who one person does not care to travel and the other person's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and not travel. So they do solo trips. And this is something that if you're okay with traveling alone, I would definitely recommend if you are surrounded by people who don't like to travel. But if you are, this could be even friends, right? There are friends who I've had who love to travel and make sure they do that. And then I've had other friends like, how do you do this? How do you make travel a priority? Which the curiosity is honestly to me refreshing. But then there are other people who they just do not care about travel at all. They want to stay in their hometown all of their life, and that's completely fine. But you don't want to surround yourself with people who don't get that same energy or excitement from traveling or talking about travel or seeing something new. Because then you kind of feel like the odd one out, and then you might not accomplish your travel goals and dreams. I want to finish this video by saying, do not try to change people if they are not comfortable with traveling. I think it's great to inspire people like how we do, kind of like having these chats and talking about travel and seeing how we could travel even more and change it up. But there are people who just are okay with day trips or not traveling at all, and that is totally fine. Not everybody has the same passions. But don't try to change somebody and think that you can get them to travel 100% if that's not something that they are open to. You have to be okay with that. So just surround yourself with people who prioritize travel, or just make sure you're okay with yourself, you like hanging out with you, and you could do some solo trips on your own. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I'm excited to make even more content for you guys, and I hope this helps you travel more often and make sure you negotiate that travel vacation time with your employer. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below, and let me know how you make travel a priority in your life, and subscribe, hit that notification bell, and until next time.